like literally going into Spoon, seeing the like things on the walls of just the inspirational quotes and like the organization, and then like meeting Chef Chris and Chef Gavin. This was the first time I'd met them. I just hit it off. Like, I really felt their vibe. I dug what they were doing. The whole entire cook crew there, they were just such professionals with this like incredible sense of kindness that doesn't really truly, you don't see it very often, people. I'm just saying, people can be more kind. And I loved it.
Yeah.
So then what they do during your Synergy series and you cook your food there. I was on the Scallop Station and Gavin's like expoing. I'm like totally digging all of it. They take you to Belcourt, which is their restaurant in Wayzata. It's the French restaurant that he dedicated to Daniel Boulud in this area in Lyon, the Belcourt. And it's the most stunning restaurant ever. So we were there in April and they had a huge snowstorm. So like it's on Lake Minnetonka. The lake is crystal blue. There's still snow around. This Belcourt restaurant, you walk in, it's like this gorgeous kind of like open hallway space. On the right is the bakery and the bar. On the left is the dining room. In the back you have the chef's table and the kitchen. And it's just so fucking beautiful and gorgeous. And Jeremy always asks me, he's like, what kind of restaurant do you want to open? I'm like, I don't know. I really don't. And then I walked into that restaurant and I looked over and I'm like, you know how you always ask me what kind of restaurant I want? I was like, this is it. Like, beautiful. This is it. This is exactly what I had pictured in my mind. And we sat at the chef's table and had brunch. Chef Ryan took care of us. One of the cooks at Belcourt actually staged at Rustic Canyon in January. Mm-hmm. And Gavin Kaysen was in town with his family and came to Rustic for dinner.
While this man was staging?
Not because, but they,
how nerve-wracking.
Interesting. That was the first time I met Gavin.
Okay.
And I was expoing in the kitchen, and Jeremy was there, and he had such charm and such grace, and I was like, oh my god. And Stu, who actually is one of my best friends now, slept on my couch because he had like a horrible Airbnb situation. He got kicked out. He like showed up at Rustic with this huge yellow duffel bag. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, I gotta find a place to stay. I was like, you can sleep on my couch. What chef de cuisine am I that like our poor Minnesota stage is like out on the fucking streets? Gavin would not approve.
No, hell no.
So I saw Stu, actually, like he was at Belcourt. We had brunch. Loved it. Loved everything about that experience. And so when I came back to LA, I was a free woman. Didn't have a job. Had stages set up. So I went to State Bird Provisions and kind of worked in the commissary up there at Progress. I worked at Camino when it was open. Got to spend like a week there at Camino and work in the kitchens. Worked at Charter Oak with Kat. Yep. Spent a few days there. Went back to the Meadowood farm to stage there, and I was catering my uncle's wedding that summer, and I got to go to the farm. And he was like, yeah, you can pick whatever you want. Just if you want violas, because I wanted violas, I want a bunch of garnish stuff. He's like, yeah, go out there. And so it's just like this, from 12 days and having these relationships in place and just having these connections, not being, underneath someone else's name to continue those conversations was really sweet to me. Yeah. I really felt for the first time as a professional chef because I was able to hold these conversations without anyone around me and still maintain those relationships. And that's what I did. I went back to Minnesota during the summer and staged again at Spoon and Stable for like a full week. I actually lived with Stu at the time in Minnesota. And my goal was always to come back and open Birdie G's. And so for me, I realized like kind of in August and September that Birdie G's was going to get pushed back as far as like construction and deadlines. And so I had another few months that I was unemployed basically. And so on social media, because that's the kind of platform it is.
That's right.
Yeah. Put yourself out there and say, hey, I've got about 3 months that I could give somebody. Does anyone need my help?
Yeah.
And sure enough, he was on vacation in Sweden with his family. He emailed me. Gavin Kaysen was like, I have an opportunity for you. Let me know. I'll let you know. I'll reach out when I come back. I was like, awesome.
Yeah.
Great. I would love to. And I approached Jeremy with it. I was like, hey, Gavin Kaysen has reached out, and he said that he has an opportunity for me to move to Minnesota for a couple months, help them out a little bit, and do a executive chef residency at Belcourt.
That's badass.
Not at Spoon, at Belcourt. And I was thrilled because it's like French food, it's this volume, and with what Birdie G's was going to be compared to what Rustic was, I needed volume. I needed that kind of like experience. I didn't have that. So I moved. I packed up my car. I rented out my apartment for like 3 months. And I drove to Minnesota with my mom. We went through Yellowstone. We went through the country. It was unbelievable. Driving out of Wyoming is like a Twilight Zone situation. Like Yosemite is the most, or Yellowstone is one of the most incredible places. Montana, Idaho, like that whole trail up through Wyoming. But then we went down and we were like going out of Wyoming, and it's these gorgeous, big, huge mountains, and it's like all pinks and rosies, and the sun's going down, but it doesn't end. You just keep going through these mountains, and you won't ever. And we like started to like get a little
dizzy.
Fucking weird.
Oh, this is too beautiful.
Are we ever getting out of here? Like, does this ever end?
We already saw that mountain.
Oh my god, you're on the right. We haven't turned at all, right? Oh my god, that was intense. That was an insane drive. But we got to South Dakota, and then we got to Minnesota. But I moved to Minnesota. Moved in with Stu. I was like, I cannot recommend more to anyone. Let a stranger sleep on your couch.
Oh, for sure.
You never know.
You never know. It's amazing. And what they're going to do after your couch, you know? Then you feel like you're part of their success.
He had to live on the couch for 5.5 months. Let's just say my extension lasted a lot longer than I expected. I left Belcourt in February 14th. I left. I drove back across country. I was there for 5.5 months, and I loved it. I spent Thanksgiving. Chef Gavin invited me to his family's home for Thanksgiving. I spent Thanksgiving with his family because I was all by myself in Minnesota. I was able to fly back for Christmas. New Year's Eve, I had a dish on the menu. Like, we were doing specials. I got to, Chef Chris taught us how to butcher whole veal.
Yeah.
And Diane, who's the pastry chef there, is like the most talented, organized, and her team and the women she has working for her. I mean, these people are fucking talented. They are the creme de la creme of human beings.
Yeah.
I'm like, I stand by it, 100%. I'm a religious person too. I'm a very, very deep, God-loving, spiritual believer. Those are good people.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck.
Yeah, the times I've met Gavin and that whole company is like you guys are coming out of heaven,
like
or what?
Chef-driven hospitality
they
group,
make it?
strong female presence with incredible professionalism, decent human beings, tasty, delicious food, good drinks, fun times, good people.
That sounds amazing.
Fuck. In the snow. In the negative 23 degrees.
Yeah.
It was like during that
negative
whole, like,
23.
It was like that
Damn.
fucking like apocalyptic cold front that we all went through. Negative 23. That's when you go into the walk-in and you're like, it is warm in here.
Yeah, it's warm in here. Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, are we keeping our produce at this temperature?
Yeah.
We need to be careful.
Yeah, exactly.
It is too warm
Is this
here.
really what 32 feels like? This is wild.
Hot. I am hot.
I love that.
Oh my god, that was strange. But
so after your time there, you know, you're ready to like kind of get back in the saddle of things?
yeah,
right?
I literally left February 15th and I started at Birdie G's February 19th.
Okay.
And we opened June 21st.
Did you see anything before that? Any build out or anything change?
Only the locational visits during the time that I would come back out here.
Yeah.
Like I came back in January before I went back to Minnesota and was at the space and it was still during construction. And Jeremy shared blueprints with me, so I had an idea. We talked about staffing while I was still there.
Yeah.
Because, construction was being pushed back.
Yeah.
So it's not
like
really,
always. Like always.
Yeah. It's like, what the hell am I supposed to do?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I have to maintain a living lifestyle
exactly.
that I've created for myself.
And stay busy and sharp.
Yeah, I got to know what's going on.
Yeah.
So then, got back into the swing of things. Got to open a restaurant from blueprints, which was incredible.
Yeah.
I've never been a part of that aspect of things, so that was a huge growing opportunity for me, which, the male side of my family is a lot of iron workers and construction, and a lot of, even on my dad's side of the family, like a lot of the males in my family do construction. And it's just something that works for us. Like, I understand it. I like it.
Yeah.
I like building. I don't do much of it, but from the design perspective and the execution perspective, I love it. I ate that shit up. And I get along really well with men. It's professionally.
Yeah.
I have great relationships with men in my professional business, and I pride myself on being able to kind of, stand side by side and work instead of it being teetered either way.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was just an incredible opening.
So when you came back, this kitchen is built.
Was being built.
Gotcha.
So there was we opened in June. We started cooking health department wise by the last week of May.
Mm-hmm.
So February, March, and April was putting it together, buying every smallware you could fucking think of.
Yeah.
Creating a menu, recipe testing at either Tallulah's or Rustic.
Yeah.
And that was difficult, kind of going back
for sure.
into those restaurants and doing recipe testing and stuff, and kind of feeling like an outsider, but kind of still feeling like an insider.
And then the chef in you is like, we didn't do that like that before. And then you're like, Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you.
Shut the fuck up.
Exactly. I hear you. Exactly.
God, I really need to listen to myself. So when we got into actual mobile mode of cooking in the kitchen of Birdie G's, Deanie Hickox was Jeremy's actual kind of pastry consultant on the project.
Yeah.
They had a personal relationship. They were ex-husband, ex-wife, but now they're all happy and friendly, and couldn't be more of a healthy relationship with Rachel and Birdie, and the whole family's just, it's great. I love seeing that, where your professional side can still interact even with a personal issue behind you. I think that's an incredible thing about kitchens, is because at the end of the day, it actually isn't about you. It's about what you're creating and this food.
Yeah, and the guests and
who's experiencing it. And you can put things aside to really work together on that.
Mm-hmm.
So we did a weekend of training and gave us all these recipes. We executed them. And then the team and I were the ones that were going to enforce for the menu. We didn't have a pastry chef on site. And with my knowledge, as well as our sous chefs, that was the execution of our pastry program, which I love. I have a huge, huge love affair with becoming a pastry chef. Completely. 100%. And only doing savory for myself at home, because I just love it that much. And it was fun. It was great. We did all of these dinner series leading up to our opening. Yeah. So Gavin Kaysen came out and did a dinner with us. And then we did all of the chefs of the Rustic Canyon group. We did a bunch of chefs from Los Angeles. And then June 21st, we were open. So we really only had a month with 3 chef dinners in between to train, create, and set up this 5,000 square foot restaurant. And we did. And we opened it successfully. We opened it incredible volume, and we maximized probably by about January the extent of what that restaurant was capable of. Truly. Holidays, private dining, full tables, just inside
busy
and out,
is the goal.
And prefix menus on the dish. Just capacity.
Yeah.
I decided to take a trip in February where
I saw you,
coincidentally met in London.
Mm-hmm.
And a month later, we were shut down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was the extent of the experience of Birdie G's. Mm-hmm. Because once we